In this session, we'll be talking about toolbars and buttons. We'll talk about the use for toolbars and buttons. We'll talk about the benefits of using toolbar buttons. We'll look at who can create toolbars and buttons. We'll create an action that can be linked to a button, and then we'll actually link that action to a toolbar button and link an action to a form button. So let's get started. So as you can see, I'm already logged into ISM. I'm using the Service Desk Analyst role. And let's take a look at some of the toolbars and buttons. First, toolbars and buttons can be put on any type of a business object. I'm going to use incident as my example, but you could put them on problem, change, any of the other modules. Okay, when I open up incident, you can see that we have toolbar buttons right here. And then if I move to the right, we have some more toolbar buttons over here. These toolbar buttons have been created and saved to the list view of a layout. So here I can see, here's the list view. If I double click and open a record, now I'm looking at that record in form view. And you can see here we have toolbar buttons, and then over to the right we have more toolbar buttons. These buttons, as you may have noticed, can be different on the list view and the form view. What ends up happening is these are configured in the layout, and then the layout ultimately gets tied to the role. So when you're creating your toolbars and buttons, you're going to want to think about who is going to be using those or who you want to have use those. And then that group of people should be in the roles that you publish this out to. Also, we've got buttons that can be added to forms. So we can see in here in the incident, we've got an add button, we've got an attach, paste. Let me move over and see. We've also got a link button. So all of the buttons, regardless of whether they're on a form or a list, they're all going to take an action. So what happens is they're all linked to quick actions. So let's take a look at who can create and edit toolbar buttons. I'm going to change my role to administrator. Now that I'm using the administrator role, I have the link here to the configuration console. So I'm going to click on that. And we're going to take a look at roles. Just collapse that so I have some more room. All right, I'm going to open up the Service Desk Analyst role and then the System Permissions tab. So, as I mentioned, all of the buttons are linked to quick actions. Well, that's what this is representing over here. We just shortened it to the word action, but it's quick actions. And so what we're setting up here is we're saying if somebody is logged into the user interface using the Service Desk Analyst role, if we want them to be able to create actions for themselves, we check this box right here. If we want them to be able to create and edit and share quick actions with others, then we would select Edit for All. When I select that, it puts actions down here, remember short for quick actions. And then here's where I would select the different roles or role that a Service Desk Analyst can create, edit, and share quick actions with. I'm going to take that off. Remember, the menus don't auto-hide, so click on a blank area. And now what I've set up is I've said if somebody's logged into the user interface using the Service Desk Analyst role, for quick actions, they'll be able to create quick actions for themselves, but they'll also be able to create, edit, and share for any of the roles that I've selected here. Now delete, that just takes on the exact same settings as what we put for the Edit for All. All right, I'll go ahead and save that. Okay, now we're going to create a quick action, And quick actions are linked to whatever business object that you want to link them with. So again, for my demonstration, I'm going to use incident. Let me just close that so we can kind of start from scratch here. Okay, I'm currently using a role that has rights to create and edit and share quick actions. I'm going to click on incident. Over to the right-hand side, you're going to see more. And if I click on that, if the role that I'm using, administrator, has rights to create quick actions, then I'm going to see edit actions down here. If the role that I was using didn't have rights, then I would not see this down here. Now I'm going to select that, and it's going to open up what they call the Quick Action Center. So we're currently looking at the Quick Action Designer. You've got two tabs here, one for your actions, meaning ones that have already been created, and you've got Create New Actions. For our demonstration, we're going to go ahead and create a new action. And we are going to use the Update Object action. What that's going to do once it's configured is it's going to automate the process of updating a field on the incident business object. All right, so I'm going to give mine a name. All right, I've put in Mark as VIP. I'm going to create an update that when the button is selected, it's going to put true in the VIP field. Descriptions are optional but recommended. And then category, over here on the right, these are categories. However, if I'm linking it to a button, I may not want to put it on the menu for people to run. It's your choice. Okay, so over here, there's a field in the incident business object called isVIP. Okay, and then over here, I'm going to put the field value. Now, the isVIP field is a logical field. A lot of times you'll see these as checkboxes. What's stored in the database is true and false. So if you see a checkbox and it's checked, that indicates that true is stored in the database. If you see a checkbox and it's empty, then that means that false is stored in the database. So for the field value over here, I'm going to type in, true, and you'll see it brings up your options here. And that's all I want to do, is I want them to press a button, and it marks the isVIP field of an incident to true. Okay, over here on the right-hand side, we have action settings and publish to. This is where we can select the role or roles that we want to have access to this quick action. So I'm going to give it to, actually I'll do all. Now the reason that I can do all and not just Service Desk Analyst is because I'm logged in using the administrator role. That would have been different if I was logged in using the Service Desk Analyst role. Okay, now over here on the right-hand side, we have a few more things that we can look at. There is an option to show as a toolbar button. It will just put that on the toolbar. You can go in later on and move it around if you want to. Okay, so what will happen is when somebody presses the button to run this quick action, this is going to come up, and then they'll have the option to choose yes or no. I'm going to save that. Okay, and then the next step that we're going to take is we are going to put a button on the toolbar that's going to run that quick action. In order to do that, we need to know a couple of things. One is, let me just close that there. One is, which layout is this? So your layout, when you click on a button up here, you're going to see it opens up a workspace, and within that workspace is what we call a layout. This right here is the list view of the layout. because the list is on top. This is called a preview form. When you select new to create a new record, that's a different form, or that's a form. And when you double click to edit a record, that's a form. So you could potentially have 3 different forms and 1 list in the same layout. You just want to consider your audience. So which role is logged in and which quick actions do I want them to have access to? And do I want them to have access to those in a list view where they can apply it to multiple records, or simply a form view where they can only apply it to 1 record at a time? So there's just some things to think about. All right, so I am going to add a button to my toolbar for the Service Desk Analyst role. So to find out which layout you need to use, I'm going to come over here to Page Layouts. I like to collapse that so I have more room. Now I'm going to locate the Service Desk Analyst role, because that's where I'm going to put the button. And when I select this, and then you'll see that we have Incident right here. So I'm going to choose Advanced Options. And it's giving me the name of the layout that's being used for incidents when somebody's logged in using the Service Desk Analyst role. So I need that information so I know where to go to edit the toolbar buttons. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the Incident Business Object. Okay. I'm going to come over here to Layouts. And I'm going to select Incident Layout Service Desk, because that's the one that is linked to my Service Desk Analyst role. Now in the layout, we have lists and we have forms. Here's my list. If I click on Grid View, okay, here is my list view. Now remember, list view is what you see when you click on the top level tab, and it opens up with the list on top. So over here, I'll see Toolbar, and if I want to edit that toolbar, I click on Edit over here on the right. Now we're in the Toolbar Editor dialog box, and we can see the buttons that are on the list view of the Incident Business Object for the Service Desk Analyst role. All right, so these over here start on the left margin and work their way to the right. These are on the right margin and work their way to the left. And we can see that right here. Okay, if you want to remove a button from the toolbar, you can just drag it to the trash can over there. It will say that this action cannot be undone, but it actually can. All I have to do to undo it is put that back on my toolbar, wherever I want it to go. Okay, quick action that we created. So I'm going to scroll down. Oops, there we go. And I'm going to select Mark as VIP. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it to wherever I want it to be. So do I want it to be on the right margin or the left margin? Really doesn't matter. I'll go ahead and put it on the right margin. Now a dialog box opens up, and it wants to know which action's going to run when they click on this toolbar button. So here's the quick action that we created, and that's what's going to run when somebody clicks on the toolbar button. The display, you can have image and text, just image, just text. You can see over here, these are just text, and the ones on the right, most of them are just images. Or you can have both, and that's what I'm going to select here. Now, the image that goes along with it on the toolbar button can be selected down here. These are PNG images, and these are already included in the system. If you want it to be, if you want to add some of your own, you can pull those in, not here, but you can. All right, so let me just find an image. I don't know, we'll do this crown. Okay. Now below that we have text. And so we've got a picture for our toolbar button, but now we want to let it know which text we want to see on that button. If I leave it as default, what happens is whatever name the quick action has, that's the text that's going to be on the button. And that's fine. If I go back in and I change the name of that quick action, it's going to change it on the button. If that's what you want, fine. If you want to just put some sort of a label on it yourself, you can do custom, and then it doesn't matter what the quick action name is. This is what's going to show up on the button. Now there's tool tips and things like that that you can add, so when you hover over something, it gives you more information. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get this put onto our toolbar. So I'm going to click Save. We'll come back and test that out. All right, so now I have a toolbar button. I'm going to save that. And remember the breadcrumbs. I'm going to go back. And now we're going to take a look at the form view. Okay, we're going to use the Try Our New Look. Just a little bit more of a graphical way to do things. Okay, so here you can see the toolbar buttons in form view. All you have to do is click once on that and it pops out the toolbar editor. The toolbar editor is just the same as what you saw for the list view, but you'll notice it doesn't have that new button on there because we added it to the list view, not the form view. So let's go ahead and add it to the form view. This time I'm going to put it in the upper left. The dialog box opens up. I'll choose an image for this one. How about that one? It can be the same image if you want. All right, we know what these do. And I'm going to save this. And now I'm going to save again. I'm going to use my breadcrumbs to come out here to the first page of the layout, and I'm going to save that. Now we'll go to the user interface and we'll test out the changes. I like to do a browser refresh just to make sure that the changes take effect. I'm going to change my role to Service Desk Analyst. Now you can see that we do have, this shows up on the administrator role, and that's because they're using the same layout. Okay, so as a Service Desk Analyst, I can see there's that button that I put in there. If I click on it, it comes up with the question that I put into the quick action. And it's going to mark them as a VIP. Okay, now if I go into form view, double click there, and we can see that the button has been put onto the form view of our incident business object. And I can select that. It comes up with that question. I choose yes. And now this customer has been marked as VIP for this incident. Okay, if we go back out to list view and look at this incident, we're going to see that he has been marked as VIP for this incident. This does not mark him as VIP on their employee record. Okay, now what we would like to do is we want to be able to open up a record, and in form view, we want to have a button on the form. So over here, you can see we have some buttons on the forms out of the box. And again, this all gets tied back to the layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the configuration console. It's already open, so I don't need to click on the wrench. And then we know the name of the layout, so I'm just going to go to the business object, incident, Just going to collapse that. And so now if I go to the layout and I open up the layout that's used for the service desk role, and I come down here to form, you'll see here that this is the form. It matches what you see in the user interface. There's their information. So now I'm going to open up that form. I'm going to click on the pencil. And over here, I'm going to expand Other, and I am looking for Command Button. You simply drag that out onto the form wherever you want to place it. It gives you a button there, and it says Button. If you click on it, over here on the left, this is where you can configure that button. So first off, you see Action, which is short for Quick Action. Here, what you're going to do is you're going to select the quick action that will be run when somebody clicks on that button. So I'm going to click over here, just click once, twice, and then this opens up. Now the quick action that I created was called Mark as VIP. I didn't put it into a category, so it shows up under no category. And now I'm going to click OK. Now you can see this is what's going to run when somebody clicks on that button. Let's look at a few other things. Got taller there. And as I scroll down, we can put a label on that button. So rather than just having it say label, of course you can name it anything you want. Click out here somewhere, you're going to see that change that you made. If you want to make it taller or narrower, okay, you've got these options here. I'll just make it 10. Okay, so now our button is going to run the Mark as VIP quick action. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save my changes. And then I'm going to come to the user interface, change my role. I'm just going to close incident. I'm going to select Service Desk Analyst. Okay, and here's incident. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a record. I'm just going to double click. And now we can see there's that button that's going to run the Mark as VIP. So if I click on that, are you sure? Remember, this is stored in the quick action. If you don't want it anymore, go to the quick action and remove it. And we chose yes. So I'm going to save this. And then we're going to go back and look at incident 10461. That's this one right here. And you can see that it's been marked as VIP. So just to recap, we went in to find out how to set rights for various roles for creating quick actions. That was done under the Service Desk Analyst role in the configuration console. Whoops. The configuration console is already open, so I don't need to click on the wrench again. So I'm going to click over here on the configuration console, go to Roles. From there, I'm going to select the Service Desk Analyst role. I'm going to take a look at the system permissions for the Service Desk Analyst role. All right, action is short for quick action. So if somebody's logged in as a Service Desk Analyst in the user interface, under actions, they'll be able to create and save quick actions for themselves. They'll be able to create, share, and edit quick actions for others in the Service Desk Analyst role. And they'll also be able to delete shared quick actions for the Service Desk Analyst role. The next thing we did was we used a role that has rights to create a quick action. We went to that business object, in this case incident. We went over to the More and Edit Actions so that we could create our quick action. Okay, when we created our quick action, I'm just going to click edit here. We published it to whatever roles that we wanted to be allowed to use it. We put a button down here, or actually checked it, so that when somebody tries to run the quick action, it's going to come up with this prompt, and they just have to answer yes or no. Okay, and then we went to layouts. Let's look at how we found layouts. If you come down here to page layouts and select the role that you're interested in this case, service desk analyst, and then locate the business object that you're going to be using to put the button. So over here, I'm going to choose advanced options, and it gives me the name of the layout that's going to be used. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate to that layout for the incident business object. So I'm going to choose business objects, incident, collapse that, and layouts. So there's my service desk layout, and we have a form and a list view. So for the list, clicked on this. For the toolbar editor, I clicked on edit, and then I was able to drag or remove buttons. All right, so that's for list view. Now I'm going to use my breadcrumb and go back a level. And for form view, okay, I'm going to click in here in the toolbar, and it opens up the toolbar editor. And then the same thing, we can just drag the buttons around, on or off, or rearrange them, and then save. And then save our layout. Finally, what we wanted to do is we wanted to add a button to a form. Open up the configuration console using the administrator role. I'm going to return to my business object, incident, collapse this for more room. And then from here, I'm going to my layout. The incident layout service desk is the one that's being used by the service desk analyst role. So I'm going to open that up. And from here, I'm going to go to form view. And then here we can see the form, and we simply click on the pencil to edit it. When we do, we come over here to other and we expand it. We locate command button and we just drag it out onto the form. Then you're going to select the button, and to link it to a quick action, you're going to come over here and click once, twice, and then this comes up. And then you locate the quick action that you want to link to that button. And then finally, if you want to change the text that's on the button, you're going to come over here to label, put whatever you want there, and you can make whatever other formatting, changes that you want to. Okay. One last thing, I want to show you how to hide a button if you want to, and we can do that at the quick action level. We could also do it at the form and the layout level. Let's do it at the quick action level. So over here, I'm going to go to more. Remember, I'm on incident business object. I'm going to click on more, edit actions. Now, the nice thing about quick actions is they can be cloned. So if you want something else to do, something that's close to what we're doing here, you can find the quick action on the left, and then you have the option to clone it. But you also have the option to edit it. And within here, if I want to use my hide in UIWin or disable in UIWin, I can set that up here. So let's come over here to the FX, and I'm going to expand incident and fields, and I'm looking for the is VIP field. Okay, so just double click. And then I'm going to put if the VIP is true. Since it's a logical field, I don't have to put quotes around that. I'm just putting VIP is true. And then I save. So now I've said don't show this in the user interface when the is VIP field is marked as true. Okay, so I'm going to save my changes and then come back to the user interface. Just do a browser refresh. And with the incident business object open, I have this record right here selected, and I can see they are a VIP. Let's go find somebody who's not a VIP. And now you can see that button shows up there. So you can do that on the form or on the list view and hide it based on a condition. If you need help or additional instructions, you can always go to the help in the product itself. Go to Home, Administer, Using Layouts, Accessing the Toolbar Editor, and then don't forget to join the Ivanti Insider program. This way you can network with your peers and collaborate or share ideas with one another. For more practice with the toolbars and buttons, we've got a short exercise or a couple of exercises over here that you might want to try out in your staging environment.